Hey everybody, I wanted to talk a little bit about magic and how everybody uses it. I just woke up like this. I know. Yeah. But okay, so I'll start off by saying that everything's made out of energy, correct? Like that's a scientific fact. That's something we know. Stop eating your ass, dog. Okay, so everything's made out of energy, and magic is basically manipulating energy. So, if everything is made out of energy, so that means your actions, your words, your thoughts, every single little thing is made out of energy. And because that energy that we're using is doing something, it's being manipulated by us, and there's other things being manipulated around us, like wind and whatnot. So we're manipulating energy 24/7. So that means everybody uses magic. Whether they're aware of it or not, people use magic 24/7. However, the difference between those who practice magic and those who do not is the fact that we're conscious of it. We realize and acknowledge that our actions have an outcome, that we can decide what our actions can be, that we can decide, in most cases, what our outcome would be. 2 plus 2 equals 4. We recognize that. We do the math. So the difference is, people just go along, they're thinking negative things, they're doing negative things, and they're not realizing that that's the energy that they're putting out into the universe, so that's the energy that they're going to receive back. But at the same time, everything's all about perspective to an extent. So, but most people's perspectives are wrong. Like science proves, it shows how if people don't understand something, they don't comprehend something, they're just not getting it, their brain will instantly fill in those blanks just so people's brains don't start hurting and you see the sparks flying out. So this shit gets really complicated. But like at the same time, people that know what they're talking about and understand how things are worked, they can simplify it. If you the saying goes for a reason, if you can't explain this in a way that even a little child can understand, then chances are you yourself probably don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I think it's hilarious when people try to sound so smart and intelligent and use all these fancy words and blah blah blah, like they're trying so fucking hard, and I'm like, dude, you don't know shit because you're just being a little, pompous asshole, like this whole facade going on. Like the most intelligent beings that I have come across, they're not like that at all. Like they're very humble. They're assholes, they're grumpy, they're grouchy. I mean, why wouldn't they be? But at the same time, they speak simply. you know. So, well, and then on top of that, people have a very two-dimensional way of thinking. So, and obviously they're divine beings, so they're obviously going to have a greater understanding and knowledge of things versus most people, or just, you know, again, when they don't understand something, their mind, magic, it just fills in the blank for them. And so they really believe something happened or this, that, and the other, and in reality, it just didn't, because they're just trying to fill in blanks. And that's another thing about practicing magic, is like you have to learn how to differentiate between what you're actually experiencing versus what you only think you're experiencing. You're trying to fill in the blanks. You're trying to figure out everything. Doesn't have to be completely understood at the moment that it happened, or even ever, you know. All you have to do is try and just acknowledge, okay, this is what happened. However, I don't understand certain things that happen, and leave it at that. Don't try to fill it in, because if you try to fill it in, like the saying goes, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. There's a reason for that, because if you only have a little bit of information, and you put all your eggs in one basket without even knowing which basket has a fucking hole in it first, chances are you probably fucked up. Now you ain't got no more eggs. So practicing magic, it can be fun and everything like that. A lot of good things come along with it. It can be exciting. However, just as equally as it is all of those positive things, it will be just as equally all the negative things. So it's okay. So it's like, if it's, everything has to have a balance. There's a scale. So just as you're gonna experience greater things, you're also gonna experience worse things. But at the same time, again, it's a little bit of combination of perspective, because one experience that can be painful for somebody else can be enjoyable for somebody else. So again, it can also, just perspective can play a little bit of a part in it. But either way, whatever your perspective is, you're gonna experience opposite ends of the scale equally, unfortunately. So, but yeah, also witchcraft, practicing magic, the whole point of it is to be conscious, be aware, acknowledge your actions, your thoughts, everything around you, using your senses and beyond. It's about choosing not to be ignorant, and knowing how the world around you actually works, and making decisions because you decided to decide that, not because you're programmed and brainwashed and that's what your parents told you to do, that's what you think God wants you to do, all this other bullshit. You have to understand something in yourself, use an intuition, and know that that decision is correct. Onyx, shut up. That decision is correct because you know it. Whether anybody else does or not, you fucking know it. So when you're people, a lot of people like it's funny because witchcraft is very, very popular. However, at the same time, it's a dying art. How can something so popular be a dying art? Oh, I know. Because most people that claim to practice it, this, that, the other, are just people that are, into the fantasy crap and the Harry Potter. They have an unrealistic thought process on how reality even works or how anything works. They use witchcraft as a means to validate their bullshit. And not only does this make it hard for them to ever actually get anything worth out of life, all this stupidity and misconception and all this BS gets spread around like a plague because everybody like, oh, that sounds right. It makes sense to me in my very, very small mind that can't comprehend much. So yeah, that must be it. So let's spread this around as if it's fact. What you guys have to understand is the masses are idiots. I mean, not even being mean, because don't nobody got energy for that. Anybody got time for that? Just gonna say things how they are. It is how it is. Everything's not gonna make you happy after it's said. The truth isn't always gonna be what people want to hear, but that's what you're gonna get from me because we don't got time to be sugarcoating shit and playing things down and try to drag the dumbasses along. Just some people just need to be let go, dropped off the edge. It's okay. Whatever's at the bottom waiting for them, that's nature. That's for them. It's not for us to intervene. So witchcraft is about being aware of the world around you, knowing what's actually there, not just because you see. Okay, you see that's there. You have to see beyond all of that. You have to know what's actually there. You want to know something freaking just mind blowing? Okay, so most people, okay, we see less than 1% of the world around us. Less than 1%. So that's over 99%. That's almost 100% of shit around us that we cannot even see. So we currently see so much around us, right? There's so many colors, patterns, textures. Like this is just, we're seeing so much and it seems like so much, right? Now imagine seeing everything that we're seeing times 100. Like you can't even possibly imagine all the shit that's around us right now that we cannot even see. Like it's insane how we see less than 1% of the world around us. So there's like over 99% of a lot of things going around us right now and we can't even see it. When you practice witchcraft, when you practice magic, you start to see parts of that other 99+%. But the sad thing is, and studies have been done, most people that are drawn to witchcraft are people that are uneducated, miserable, meaning they're unhappy with their life, they're completely unhappy with their life, and 3, people that are just mentally ill or mentally unstable, So when you get people that are miserable, so they're in a constant state of negativity, they're uneducated, so they're not going to be able to grasp and comprehend anything and understand 2 plus 2 equals 4. And then on top of that, they're mentally ill. So even if they wanted to have an understanding and whatnot, they're not going to be able to either way. And also that their experiences are going to be tainted. They're going to be experiencing things that are false. I mean, a lot of people experience things falsely because, again, people's perspectives are wrong. However, somebody that's mentally ill, it's going to be even more twisted than it originally was. So when you have people like that practicing magic and thinking that what they're experiencing is real and this, that, the other, that can be very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. That's why one things you'll hear somebody who's knowledge and skilled in the craft and knows what the hell they're talking about, one of the things that they'll typically tell people to do is, well, if they're, talking to somebody who wants to get into witchcraft or is even been in it for so long and still hasn't got anywhere, one of the main things that you need to do before you start practicing is you need to get a psychiatric evaluation. You need to you need to get in learn psychology. You have to learn how the mind works. Because the only way to understand how everything works is to understand how you work. You have to know about yourself on a level that, you know, it can get to a point where you don't need, a doctor to tell you this and that and the other. You're gonna be like, well, I know, because you can just sense those things. Not saying you shouldn't listen to your doctor because, it takes decades and lifetimes with an S to get to a certain point like that. But, again, there's a reason why, psychic abilities and whatnot are rare, because there's not that many people on the planet that can do these things. So, just because something is possible doesn't mean it's plausible. So, again, people need to have a realistic thought process on what witchcraft is. And that's not just including, people that are interested in it and want to practice. This also includes the people who are against it, which is completely idiotic, because to be against it means to be against yourself, because magic is everything. Everything is magic. So we're all using magic, so. But again, there's a lot of things that go into that are deeper that I'm just not getting into right now. But I just wanted to discuss what witchcraft is, because there's too many people out there lying. There's too many people out there that are miserable and unhappy with themselves and just absolute fucking losers. And they want to feel special, so they go around pretending to be this and that, lying, and it's so disgusting. And I know a lot of these people are just sick, but that doesn't mean you have to tolerate the bullshit, because when you tolerate the bullshit, you're just feeding their sickness. You're the bad guy. You're in the wrong. You can't defend wrong. You can't defend stupidity. You have to ignore it and be disgusted by it. That's the only way for it to stop and to go away. When somebody's being negative and you give them attention, what are they going to do? more negative. So when people are, and I know at the same time it's hard to tell who's bullshitting and who isn't, but it's, in order to know that, you have to learn about how everything works. You have to learn how people work. That's what I'm saying. One of the main things you need to do is learn psychology. Psychology, sociology, anything that has to do with the mind. And once you do that, you'll start to understand yourself, and then you'll be able to look around you and start applying that psychology that you learn, and you'll automatically, like, you'll learn how to read people on a psychological level. And after you've learned how to read people on a psychological level, you'll find yourself starting to incorporate your intuition and feeling, their emotions and this and that and the other. You'll start realizing that you're reading people on a spiritual level. And once it gets to that point, once the two you combine, then you yourself will feel a sense of almost like you've experienced it. Like you may not, you'll just feel like you experienced it. You may not see what happened or this, that, the other, but you'll feel like you've experienced it. So, but that's what empathy is. Being empathic is. Being empathic is just, everybody thinks that, oh, I'm empathic because I can feel other people's emotions. No, that's something everybody can do. Everybody can sense other people's emotions. That's just a basic part of human nature. That's not being empathic. That's just empathy. Or in a lot of cases, when you're feeling sorry for somebody, that's just sympathy. Being empathic means you sense energy around you in general. So if you're like, oh, I can only pick up emotions, you're not empathic. That's not what empathic is. Empathic is you sense energy in general. So if you're somebody who can sense different kinds of things around you, that's what empathic is. It's not just, oh, I sense emotions. But again, trying to stay on topic, discussing what witchcraft is and what it's not. Everybody uses it. I guess that's it. I mean, I pretty much covered it all. I mean, I can go on and on, honestly, but I think I've kind of got the point across on this topic. So, see you guys in another video on another topic when I think of one. See ya.